Hey, what's up, social media world? It's me, Chris, your favorite coach, your favorite host today. Back with another edition of Conversations with Chris, where I'm Chris. I have conversations with people that I find interesting. And we have Chad Hyams for the second time. Amazing. But I'm excited today because this is a little bit of a different context. I've been pretty public about the fact that I'm hosting a TEDx event right here in Lake Worth Beach. It's going to be a lot of fun. And finding out that my longtime friend here, Chad, was local. I haven't spoken to in a while, and he's here and went through the application process, and he's going to be one of our speakers. Welcome. Thank you so much for popping on again.
My pleasure, Chris. I'm so excited about this opportunity to share with the people watching and, of course, share at the TEDx event.
That's awesome. And I'm excited to see your talk here because, our theme is unscripted.
Yeah.
And you're going to be talking about being off track. So when people hear off track, they usually think something went wrong, right? I mean, that's kind of our conditioning. So what does that phrase mean to you now?
Being off track just means being off the script, right? I mean, Chris, think about some of the greatest movies of all time that are out there. And one of the ones that comes to my mind always in that conversation is Jaws. Mm-hmm. If I asked you to tell me one line from the movie Jaws, I'm going to bet 9 out of 10 people are going to give me the exact same line. Chris, I'll put you on the spot. Give me a quote from Jaws.
Shark.
Okay, well, all right. So you're the 10th out of 10, right? Almost everybody's going to give you the line, you're going to need a bigger boat.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It was unscripted. Yet it completely transformed that whole scene and that whole take in the movie with a simple unscripted moment. That's what being off track means. Yes, it means being off track towards our goal. Yes, it means being off track towards whatever life has in store for us that we might not be ready for yet.
It sounds exhausting.
It can be.
I find it invigorating. That's and my thing is with the whole unscripted thing. And I'm curious to know because for me, I had a realization where I was like, the most delicious moments in our lives, the most profound ones, the best memories, the things we talk about are often things that just we didn't plan for, that just kind of showed up and like we were in the moment for. That's something I realized about my life. Was there a moment in your own life where you realized being off plan wasn't a problem to solve, but something to lean in and listen to?
Yes, except usually it's in hindsight.
Yeah.
Right. It's rarely, and that's part of what I'm in my talk that I'm talking, right? It's rarely that we stop. Oh, hey, look, everything's unscripted right now. Right. It's usually in hindsight. And what we're going to look in today's day and age, Chris, we are driven by a grit culture.
Sure.
Okay. That is, everybody runs around and they either throw the word grit around or they throw the word resilience around. And what I'm going to challenge with this talk is that sometimes that isn't where we're going, right? The unscripted moments bring us information. They bring us opportunities. It's not punishment that these off-track, unscripted moments bring us, yet usually that's how we feel. We don't consider it off-scripted when all of a sudden we're on vacation, right? Oh, we don't have a plan. We'll just do whatever we want to do. That's a script. The script says improv. If you've ever seen Good Morning Vietnam, the script to Robin Williams when he was being the DJ said improv. That was the script. And he just made up almost all of that dialogue on the spot at time. That's different than unscripted being, hey, I was planning to meet with Chris today to do this video. Oh, and something went wrong. Now, how do I react? Is it grit? Is it resilience? Or is it recognizing an unscripted opportunity?
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's funny because this thing that I do here by nature, so many people are like, hey, what are you going to ask me? What are we going to talk about? And I'll say, hey, we'll see where it goes. And I really believe that magic happens in the moment. And that's why I like this. That's also why I believe the industry that we're in with coaching and people development is there's a magical thing that happens when you bring humans together and what goes on in the moment. This is a big thing, because really, you're challenging the idea that progress comes from staying on plan. So why do you think that belief is so deeply ingrained?
Because it's what we've been told. is what 90% of the books tell us to do. Push harder. Don't give up. How many people have you heard from, Chris, that show that meme on Facebook of the guy digging for gold and he gives up and it's like one more shovel away, right? That's the mindset we are always beaten with, especially as an entrepreneur. Push harder, push harder, push harder. The results are just waiting. Not always.
Exactly. It's, even in, I remember, coming from the world we are, that like, build it more, build it bigger, go, go, go. Like, I remember I had a moment with a client where she had her best year. She did 28 transaction sides. I guess month 2 or 3 of us working together, she had a month like that where she closed that many deals. And she said to me, Chris, I don't want to build a huge team. I don't want to build an empire. Is that cool? And I was like, you know what, Jen, that's okay. If you want to do 28 deals a year or 20 deals a month, if you want to do 5 deals a month, hey man, it's your life, your world. I'll help you get there. And that's kind of to be able to disconnect from the things that are around us and, chart our own path and leave a little bit space for the unscripted, right? Yes. So let me, when plans break, most people rush to fix things. Yeah. So what do we miss when we move too quickly to get back on track?
Opportunity, right? We miss the lesson that life is putting in front of us, opportunity. How many times have we heard the expression, right? History is doomed to repeat itself. And you're going to keep learning that same lesson until you learn it. That's what ends up happening. We push through an opportunity that's in front of us. We push through a mistake, an off-track moment, an unscripted situation. We just push through it. We don't learn the lesson. So what's going to happen? It's coming back at some point. Sooner or later, we're going to find ourselves there again.
And it inevitably comes back. Here, I'm looking to see my TEDx. I'm seeing if I just thought of this right now. I'm going to share this while we're doing this into our TEDx group. Like, I should put stuff in there.
Sure. Folks, if you want to know what Chris just said, if you want to know more about the TEDx event that Chris is bringing to Lake Worth, Chris, how do they get the link? Right? Can you put it on the screen or something? There's a
yes.
group you can join.
Yeah. That's a good thing. So I'm gonna get. Yeah, let me get that going. I can definitely put it. I'll post it in the comments too of this. So if you see it outside of that, you can kind of join the Facebook group. I intended that group. It's funny, Chad, because I intended that group to be for like speakers and volunteers, but right. Facebook automatically just started. I started seeing people join this group, and I was like, wait, I didn't launch it yet. And it had invited friends of mine that they thought would like that would be appropriate. So thanks, Meta AI. In a lot of what you do, you talk about disruption as information, not failure. Sure. What does it take to actually hear that information instead of resisting it?
Training. It takes training our brain to learn that, hey, there's a voice talking. I have to stop and listen to it. Mm-hmm. If we don't do the training, the muscle is weak. And if the muscle is weak, we rely on the muscles that are strong, right? Chris, think about it. If your legs are weak, yet your arms are strong, when you go to pick things up, you're going to use poor form to pick them up with your arms because your legs don't have that strength to it. If we don't have the mental strength to being able to stop, call time out, have a look, recognize. And one of the lines I say in my script is maybe the real skill in an unscripted moment is not being able to prove how tough we are. It's being able to stop and recognize what's changed. And we have to build the muscle to be able to recognize that, because the world has taught us, no, it's just be tough and push harder.
Yeah. It's like slow, and it's in slowing down, in having that quiet space. It's almost like unlearning. I remember there's so many classes and things on speaking and sales and scripts and that. And I just remember just coming across in our industry with real estate agents and working with people in sales, how poorly they listened to other people, to themselves. And I said, nobody has a class on listening, really. There's so much stuff out there on speaking and communicating. So I started, and for me, I'm always my first student. How can I be a better listener? So I started doing some research on listening, and I want to put together a class on listening. And I found so much stuff that was super valuable to me. That's exactly what you're talking about here. Just kind of almost like the unlearning, the slowing down. And I never launched a class, but I became my first student. And I did notice how much more overwhelmingly there was material available for speaking than listening, which is, people always say, listen twice as much as you speak. Well, the content out there would suggest otherwise, I think.
Right. That's another great point of a muscle we have to train, right? The old, we have 2 ears, 1 mouth, listen twice as much as you talk. Yet so much of society has said, hey, know to say this, have your script. Know your objection handlers if you're in sales. Know how to have a conversation, right? Fierce conversation. Understand how to have it. Understand all this stuff. Talk about it. This is what you should be saying. You're right. We have to relearn to be able to say, time out. How do I listen?
That's a thing. It is. It's a lot of unlearning in this go grind culture that we're in. Hey man, I just want to go to the beach and drink more beer, you know? So the theme here, this is,
I want to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot. What made you choose? Because the host chooses the theme, right? I've talked to some others. What made you choose unscripted as a theme for people to kind of lean into for this event? And then for the people how would it attract people to want to come hear it?
You know, that's an interesting story because just over a year ago, a mutual friend of ours, Antoinette Perez, in November of 2024, she sent me, she's like, hey, I'm doing this 30-day book writing challenge with some speakers that I know that have been sitting on their hands with writing a book. And I said, oh, shoot, I just came off tour. I was pretty busy, like, the end of August through October. And I was just kind of hanging out in November for the rest of the year. So I said, yeah, I'll do that book writing challenge. And I have these Google folders set up of different things like my listening class and my books and data I've gathered. I wanted to write a book on, like, I call, we heard the 3 L's. My 3 L's are language, leadership, and leverage. So that's kind of like my wheelhouse. And I wanted to write a book on that. And then when I sat down, I was looking at my Google Drive and starting to put that stuff together. There's a folder right next to it that said spontaneous as fuck, which is all the research and data I did around spontaneity over the past 8 years. And I just started getting into that and really leaning into it. And I was super inspired. I cranked a book out in 30 days. And then that was it. And everybody I was sharing it with was like, you need to get out there and talk about this and tell people about it. And I was like, I got to do that. But I was so wrapped up in my business world because I'm a business speaker. I deal with business people. And this is going to be my first departure out of the business world and something that potentially connects with everybody, right? Yeah. Not even people outside the business world. So I got busy again, came off tour, and in the summertime, I was sitting around at my computer and I said, let me look for any appropriate TED Talks. I mean, I always wanted to do a TED Talk. I've been invited to them where the theme didn't connect, like where people wanted me to speak on global compliance and security or education. I'm like, man, that's not my wheelhouse. Let me not force it. So I said, I wonder what it is to bring a TED Talk to the area. Because somebody recommended that to me. Why don't you bring your own? You've got some great ideas. And I kicked around some ideas, and being spontaneity is what I'm going to be talking about. And I think even one of your comments on my application there was like, hey, it's a cool idea to look at spontaneity as a skill rather than a detriment, right? Yep. Which is like things like procrastination. I feel differently about these things. So I thought I'd share that. And unscripted seemed to be the general the general category that could include all these different things. Like we have a great variety of speakers from people for people in personal development to psychology and health and wellness and all those kinds of things. And that was just, that's just going back and forth with Ted. I think, sending that application in, and maybe it was probably like 3 or 4 times back and forth of, refining it. And I thought that was a kind of a cool process, which is why I was pretty much, indoctrinated with the TED ways by the time we started getting all these speakers together. So that's how it happened for me. It's just, it's kind of not spontaneous, but serendipitous.
There you go. And folks, if you want to come hear the talk, you've got 12 of us lined up to speak, I believe, right?
There's 13. We couldn't, there's 13, man. We
couldn't choose between 2, so you picked them both and put them in.
Well, the last one, she just had the last one, she's a good speaker, great topic. And she's local and just a diversity of topic. That's Danelle talking about tea, ceremonial tea as a process rather than a product, as a process of self-development. I just thought she had a cool thing to share. And after going back and forth with her, I said, I think we got to have you. So it's going to be tight, but everybody, we're going to, I was doing the time. I extended the time instead of going from 10. So we're going to do 10 to morning session. It's going to go 10 to 1. We'll have half the speakers. Then we'll have an hour lunch break. And then we're going to go from 2 to 5 with the other half of the speakers, closing it out with Antoinette.
What a great close.
I left it up to Chat GPT. I put all the applications in there and I said, I'm hosting this thing and here's all the speakers and their topics. I want to create a really good arc. Can you just analyze this stuff and give me some suggestions? And it did a good job. At first it had me as the opener, but I said, well, I'm going to be hosting it. I'm going to welcome everybody and I'll set the tone that way. And I'll be introducing people in between. So it'll be good. Yeah. And it said Antoinette, it's like, this would be a good closer. And I think she's like, that's a lot of pressure, Chris, but she's fine. She's Antoinette. She's no stranger to this, right?
Yes. If you haven't heard Antoinette Perez speak, folks, that alone is worth the ticket to come to the TED event that Chris
It is. I did put here, like depending on where you're watching, I did put a comment there. So on Facebook, on YouTube, there's a link to the Facebook group, which I'm going to post it to, I'll post them just to buy tickets directly. I'll post that one too.
There you go.
All that stuff. Yeah. So it's $60 for the day, $35 for a half day. And it's going to be a good time. Then we'll have after 5 o'clock, we'll have a little 1 hour networking thing next door. And then we'll probably do an after party, which will be fun. Let's see how much money we raise from sponsors, which is another opportunity that we have.
That's right. If you're listening to this and you want to sponsor this unscripted TEDx event, reach out to Chris.
It comes with a couple tickets. It's going to be good. It'll be good. Yeah. Reach out at any capacity, volunteers and stuff like that. But it's been a wild ride. It's been pretty fun. Let me ask you this. Okay. In your view, what separates people who grow from unscripted moments from the ones who get stuck in them?
People who grow from unscripted moments versus people who get stuck in unscripted moments. It's will they learn the lesson that the unscripted moment's attempting to bring them? Right? That's all it'll come down to. Are they willing to, or are they going to just default to grit? If they're going to default to grit, they're never going to learn from it. If they are one that can train the muscle to stop, recognize that things are different, there's a chance they can move forward. That's why, Chris, I'm working on right now the follow-up to the conversation. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm building out a guide that they'll be able to download after the talk that says, here, ask yourself these questions. And I'm building out a full class on this to be able to really go deep into this with anybody once they see the TED talk and says, I want to know more about that. I'm working on a lot of the next level. I sat down when you challenged us with the theme and said, where is an unscripted moment in my life? Mm-hmm. Not that this is a keynote. It's not about me. I said, there's one that I'm going to use. What am I building the speech about? I want to use it to reference this, to be able to challenge that, to be able to challenge to me that grit mentality. I hear it from coaching clients. I hear it from people all the time. I'll just work harder, right? Not the answer, folks. And the ones who continue to find that are the ones who will continue to fail in unscripted opportunities.
Mm-hmm. It's not heeding the call.
That's it. How many times do you need to, have your car not start before you finally realize I should go get a new battery in it instead of always having to get a jump?
How many times are you going to use traffic as an excuse for being late until you learn how to leave a little early and make one important call during your ride every day? Yeah, I love that, man. Oh, New York was the worst. When I was up in New York, like you have a presentation, this, Chad. People, agents coming in with their coffee. Oh, sorry, I'm late. The traffic was terrible. I didn't take a helicopter here.
Right.
Not yet. But, walking in with their coffee and their donuts and everything. It was in traffic, but you had to get that caffeine fixed because the coffee we had here wasn't good enough. The coffee here provided by XYZ Mortgage Company wasn't to your liking, so you had to get you Dunkin'.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let me stop making fun of people. So for someone watching this who's in an off-plan moment right now, What's one question they should ask themselves before making their next move?
Oh, wow. Okay. What is the lesson I'm supposed to learn from this?
What am I supposed to? Yeah. Okay.
What lesson should I learn from this? And then see if it makes sense. See, sometimes it's obvious we're in an unscripted moment. Sometimes we can feel that or see it. Sometimes we don't know it's coming until all of a sudden someone else hits us with it and says, Chris, you're looking a little, a little tight in the clothes. You might want to, you're like, whoa, unscripted moment just showed up in my life that I wasn't seeing coming. The question is, are you going to go defensive, right? Or are you going to stop and say, that's an unscripted moment that just happened. What's the lesson I need to learn in this? And what's the change action I can immediately take to be able to move forward down the new path? Because most of the time unscripted moments show up. It's not to challenge toughness. It's to show us a new path.
I love that. We've heard it all the time, and we're so fortunate to have all this training about the questions we ask ourselves. And I think that's a great one, like, what lesson am I supposed to learn from this? And by the way, it's not always a fun thing.
No.
It's life
not
is
usually a fun thing.
It's easy. Life is good, easy when you're knocking it out of the park and everything's enjoyable. But if we can take those things that were not so comfortable, not so fun and exciting.
Look, to build on what you just said, you're right. Life is good when it's easy. Okay. What that means though, is that you've hit a ceiling. So the question is, are you going to stay at that ceiling and just say, hey, life is good? The analogy I give clients all the time, Chris, is imagine living in a skyscraper, right? You can live on any floor you want. The question is, are you willing to do the work to get to the floor above because it's got a better view? Are you willing to do the work? If you want to live on the 10th floor of this skyscraper and stay, this is my life, I love it, great, right? Let life feel easy for you. Yet if you're jealous of the party you can hear on the 11th floor, if you're jealous of the view they have because they can see over that building, you can't, you got to do the work to get up there. And that means unscripted moments are coming and they're not going to be comfortable until they become comfortable. And then there'll be new unscripted moments to show up.
Yeah, that's I think, and a part of what I'm going to be talking about is the more white space you leave in your world on your calendar, and to not be overly scheduled and planned will allow those moments to show up. Because I think sometimes we in that hustle and bustle and that grind, and we're just kind of in go mode, and we miss so many of those delicious opportunities and moments. Can I ask you one more question?
Well, you just did, as my dad would say. So you want to ask one more after that? Look, it's your time. It's your show. I said I'm happy to be here. Ask whatever you want.
I appreciate that. So if the audience walks away from your TEDx talk remembering just one thing, what do you want it to be?
Grit is powerful, yet it's a terrible GPS.
Pause there. When did that happen in your life?
Oh, so many times, Chris, so many times. The one I talk about in the talk to work into it is when I was 15 years old and my dad made me change my whole friend group. Like he said, you were no longer allowed to be friends with these people.
Wow.
Grit would have forced me to push through. Nobody knew grit back when I was 15. Nobody was talking about it that way. It would have forced me to push through, have the fight with my dad, keep the friends, even if I was secret about it, whatever that is. It's a terrible GPS, though, to do that. I was being given an unscripted opportunity to look elsewhere. I've been bankrupt. I've been divorced. I've been extremely overweight. Life has shown it to me multiple times, which is what got me to write Achieve Your Apex when we're talking about book, because I was able to take my stories and say, here are the lessons you can learn, and then take other people's stories and say, see, it's not just me.
That's awesome. It's are there things that those moments made possible that a plan never could have?
Yes, absolutely. Right. I mean, could I have planned that I was going to move away from Las Vegas and go take a business opportunity with a friend, Ben Kinney, up in Bellingham, and then happen to meet my wife? Sure, I could have planned that I was going to let my life fall apart here so that I had to rebuild it. So I was going to go move, and then I was going to meet the woman that hit everything on my list of what I was looking for in an ideal partner for me. Sure, I could have planned that. I never would have, because who would have taken their comfortable life and said, well, let me plan a complete collapse that forces me to reevaluate and reset everything. So instead, life showed up and gave me a bunch of unscripted moments, forcing me to make changes, see different paths, and end up in a much better place than I ever would have been. And I couldn't have planned for it.
That's pure gold, man. Chad, thank you so much for sharing with us. And again, everybody watching, you can, Chad will be tagged here. You can get in contact with Chad directly. I did put a couple links in those comments there. One is just for our Facebook group where we'll put out kind of general communications. The other one is to buy tickets directly from the Lake Worth Playhouse. It's in a nice little black box downtown Lake Worth. If you're familiar, I think it's a very cool area, very cool people we're working with over there. And March 8th, hopefully we'll see you all there. I know Chad will be there along with the 12 others, including myself. And we're gonna have a fun day. But thanks again for sharing with us, man. This is I'm so lucky, man. 2 times in the past 2 months we've had Chad.
Chris, I'm happy to do it. Whenever you're sitting there going, damn, I'm out of guests, just call me. There's always something we're happy to talk about.
I don't schedule these things. I just talk to people, say, hey, you want to do this? And then we just go, which is, it's kind of like people like, when do you do them? How often? What's your event? I'm like, I don't have any rhythm or system around it. Sometimes I'll go a month without talking to anybody, and we have a few. But I'd like to talk to all the speakers at this capacity at some point leading up to the event. And stay tuned. We're going to make some smaller clips out of this, but just dropping jewels of wisdom that you shared today. Appreciate that, and look out for those. And until the next time, peace out, everybody.